This is the People of Bartlett podcast. I'm Dustin with Bartlett Local. On this episode, we meet JT Forrester. JT has a YouTube channel, Good News Bartlett, and is one of the voices on the East Coast Avengers podcast, which you can get on all podcast channels. So let's get started with episode 6 and meet JT. Alright, we got JT Forrester with us. JT, how's your day going so far?
It's going well. It's going well. Did some emails this morning, made some phone calls, but other than that, it's been really relaxing.
All right. JT, tell us about your day-to-day.
So basically, I'm working from home, and I'll wake up every morning. I'm a type 1 diabetic, so I'll go through that regimen of checking my blood sugar, make sure it's not too high, not too low. And if it is, then I'll do the necessary steps to actually fix it. And then what I'll do is I'll just get on my computer, make sure that I have, the emails that I need to check and phone calls I need to make. And if I don't have any, then I'll just do some more, research on the computer and stuff about things to help our department up at church. So, and then that's basically it. I may go on a walk here and there with my dog. May spend time with a girlfriend, but that's really about it.
What is your job exactly?
So I am the director of recreational ministries up at Bartlett United Methodist Church. So I'm essentially your rec director. I'll run the basketball leagues that you'll see at the church. I'll run, basically some camps that we'll have from the youth of the Grizzlies Junior League. I'll run just different kind of. There's a sports thing going on up at the church, then I'm the guy running it. So
okay. And you said you have a girlfriend and a dog?
Yes. I have a girlfriend who we have been dating for about since November really. Her name is Madison, and I also have a dog. His name is Grizz. He is a dachshund. He's about 1 year old. So
okay. And does everybody live in Bartlett? You live in Bartlett, and she lives in Bartlett?
Yes.
All right, cool.
We all live here.
How long have you lived in Bartlett?
I've lived here since 2003. I moved here from Raleigh, and so about 17, 18 years now.
Okay. Did you go to school here?
I did. I went to elementary school at Alturia. I went to middle school at Elmer Park, and then Bartlett High School for high school.
Okay, that's awesome.
So, and I graduated in 2012 from Bartlett.
Okay. Sounds like you got some real deep connections to Bartlett.
I do. Basically, my biggest connection now is I just, with me getting the job at the church and been a member there since I was in 6th grade, that's really something that has connected me with a lot of the people here around the city. But I think that's, like I mentioned, that's my biggest connection with Bartlett is just being a member of the church and now being the director of recreational ministries. So, all
right. And what about your hobbies? What do you do when you're not working or walking your dog around the neighborhood?
Right. Basically, a big hobby of mine. I don't know if it's a hobby actually now, but I actually am a member of a podcast. We're called the East Coast Avengers. We're on every major platform that you can find. So if you just search up, East Coast Avengers, then we'll pop up. We're the big ECA logo. Okay. But we kind of do this every Wednesday. We do a podcast talking about everything from Marvel to DC, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, you can name it. We're basically a big old nerd community, and there's 4 or 5 of us really, including myself. So we all hang out at my house basically, and we just talk about nerd stuff. So, and we've been doing this for about a year now.
Okay, that sounds really cool.
So,
and do you have any favorite hangouts or anything in Bartlett?
Not really. I'm more of a homebody. I'll just kind of chill at the house and do stuff around the house. If it's nice outside, I'll go in my front yard or backyard and kind of sit on the deck, or let Grizz, my dog, kind of run around. But I don't really have a specific hangout spot. Before I got the job at the church, I would go up to the church every Monday night and kind of play basketball up there with some friends and stuff. So I guess that would be a technical hangout spot. But that can happen anytime now. So.
And you have a connection to the Memphis Grizzlies, right?
I do, yes. I have been a team attendant, which is your fancy word for ball boys. I've been that for the past 5 seasons or so. And basically what we do is, we get rebounds for the team. We'll get water for the team. If they, during a timeout, if they need towels, we'll give that to the team. There's 5 of us on the home side, and there's 5 on the away side. So we kind of just, we work really, hand on hand with each other. And it helps out the team when, a lot of people don't know who we are. And we kind of make things run smoother than the game looks. So.
Oh, yes, the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, pretty much. If something happens and a player falls on the ground, then you'll see me running out there and start mopping up the floor. And without me, the floor is now slick and wet, and a player could slip and fall and hurt themselves. So I like to think of it as I'm preventing the injury. But I like to see myself as a higher standard than a ball boy.
I can see that. That's cool. All right. Is there? Do you think there's something maybe you want other people to know about Bartlett? Maybe something people don't think of?
Yeah, so I know a lot of people around Bartlett are kind of used to the main areas. But one thing I would like to tell people is, if you kind of keep on going forward and keep on going forward, back side to side, wherever you can go in the town or in the city, it's a big city, and there's a lot of places that could be explored, and a lot of parks, tons of beautiful parks here in Bartlett, and a lot of trails too that you can walk or go on a jog or whatever. But it's more than your central areas that a lot of people are used to and know. The more you explore, the more you'll see that our city is really beautiful.
Yeah, that's true. That there's definitely a lot of parks, and some of them. I really like Quail Ridge Park.
Right.
That's one of my favorites. There's not a lot there, and that's my favorite part about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now you don't just do podcasting; you also have a YouTube channel.
Right. I've actually had the channel itself for quite a few months. I just never updated it or put anything relevant on there. It was just kind of to help the podcast out, really. I got the personal account for our podcast YouTube channel to kind of help with subscriber counts and likes and stuff like that. But recently I have been kind of influenced, and I got the idea from John Krasinski, who plays Jim from The Office. He's also known for a few other movies and stuff like that. But he actually. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love John. He's really someone I look up to. He's a great actor too. But he actually gave me the idea. He actually started a Some Good News channel, basically spreading good news around the world, really. And that kind of got my my brain thinking, and I said, what, that'd be really awesome to do something like that. And my mom actually said, well, how about you start up a news channel? You have the YouTube account. Just make, your videos on it. And I was like, yeah, but I don't really want to copy what John's doing. And she said, okay, well, let's think of some ideas. So then we brainstormed for a minute, and I said, how about I just start a channel for good news in Bartlett? And she said, ooh, I like that idea. And I said, okay, well, let's call it Good News Bartlett. So Good News Bartlett was then created, and my first episode we did was based. I had a few small detailed things going on in Bartlett, and then that was it. That was going to be the end of it. But then all.
Yeah. So how did it become a thing that you started doing more of?
Yeah. So once I put it out, I guess almost 2 weeks ago now. I didn't want it to go any further. I just wanted to get the first episode out and then be done with it and see what people thought of it. Then I think on Friday night when I posted it, my Facebook account started blowing up. I mean, I've gotten notifications and messages and friend requests and just all sorts of, invites to other people saying, hey, we really love this. Keep on doing it. We really like to see this news and stuff. And I said, well, I guess if the people want it, then the people are going to get it. So I actually got together with the youth director at the church, Lynn Thompson, and I made a second episode. And the second episode was really long.
How long is it?
It's the first episode was about 14 minutes long, and the second episode was about 23 minutes long. So it was definitely a bump up from the original time count that I wanted it to be. But again, my whole thing with the video is I want the people to get this good news, because you can put on Facebook or on Twitter or something, hey, this happened in this area, and only a certain amount of people will get it. But if you make a video of it and people share it, then they can see that this city is actually, is filled with good news. So yeah, that's pretty much how it's been going. The first video actually got up to it's almost up to 300 views now. And then the second episode, I had to take it down because of some audio issues and some, user error issues that I had on my part, and I re-uploaded it. So it's getting its count up right now. So.
Okay. What's the biggest challenge you faced so far?
I guess the biggest challenge that we've had, or that I've had making these videos is, finding the actual good news that's going on. Like I mentioned, there's a ton of good news. It's just I have to find, like I mentioned, I wanted this to be 10 to 15 minute episodes, and the last one got to 23 minutes. So finding all this good news and then cutting it down into 10 to 15 minutes, because I want the city of Bartlett to see all this good news that's going on. So to cut it down into little segments and then talking about them, uploading pictures or videos that people send me, and then cutting it, I kind of feel like my personal self feels like, well, I want to put every single thing that I get into one video, but in reality, I can't. So just finding the time and the space to fit all these, all this news that people are sending me is something that's kind of difficult.
I got you. How has it changed you? You've been doing this, what, 2-3 weeks?
Yeah, it'll be going on 3 weeks coming up. It's really changed me by the fact that my voice is being heard, which is, it's very humbling. I made the first video just thinking that it will be a one and done thing, and then the second video came because more and more people wanted to hear about it and such. So I've always been, growing up, been someone who's very vocal, but I would say my thoughts and say my words, and then I really didn't care what people had to say back to me. They could say the kind words and stuff, and I would take it to heart, or whatever, and then that would be the end of it. But now that people are saying, hey, we want more, keep on doing this, it's really changed me in the fact that my voice is actually being heard, and people want to hear it more, and they want to see this good news. And I think that's really humbling to see that the good news that's going around Bartlett is being spread to everyone and not just a central, location.
Very cool. Very cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to move over to the Quickfire Questions.
All right.
We're going to kind of get a slice of your life and see what you're about and everything.
Let's do it.
So go ahead and get ready.
All right.
Think you can handle it?
Hey, I'm here for a challenge.
All right. It looks like I've got about 15 of them here. I might skip some of these. Depends on how weird they get.
All right.
Number 1. What's your favorite Halloween costume?
Oh, man. Okay, so recently, backstory, I did, if anybody has seen Avengers Endgame, I did the Fat Thor last Halloween.
Okay.
By far my favorite.
Okay, cool. And then we asked Pastor Jason Jones of Bartlett United Methodist Church this one before.
Yeah.
And he thought we said dead or alive. Or he thought we said alive.
Okay.
But we changed it. I did change it to alive because I said dead or alive.
Right.
So here we go. If you could have any three people alive over for dinner, who would they be?
All right. My first one would be Robert Downey Jr.
Okay.
My second one would be Brie Larson, and my third would be, oh man, I had it. I think I'm gonna go with John Krasinski.
Okay, very cool. Question 3. How do you define happiness?
Oh man, oh that's a hard hitting one. I think happiness is a self term that everyone's going to have a different opinion on and a different, I guess, definition for. But for me, happiness is seeing others smile and seeing others, I guess, happy, but seeing the joy from anyone else. I'm a very people pleaser. So if I can help out anybody, or if I see someone that needs help or needs someone to talk to, and I feel like I can help that person, then I feel like seeing them, seeing the joy that I bring to people would make me happy, and that's my definition.
Okay, cool. Let's see. A little easier question here. What TV series do you enjoy?
Oh man, that's easy. The Office,
Okay.
very easy.
When are you your most productive?
I'm my most productive when it's Wednesday night and we're about to start our podcast.
Very cool. Okay. Um, what's one item you could never live without?
I can go one or two ways here. I can easily say my insulin pump because it technically does keep me alive.
Yeah. Okay.
But I would have to say if it was, if I chose another one,
Yeah, let's not be quite so literal.
yeah, right. I would have to say I have this walking cane that I got from a past job that I worked at. I was a camp counselor, and I got this walking cane for being for being on staff for a number of years. So it just meant that my longevity at the place, and then it's just something really meaningful to me.
It's a pretty cool gift.
Oh yeah, it sits right here, right by my bed. So
All right. So since you run a podcast yourself, you should have the answer to this. Which is better, being organized or attention to details?
ooh, both are really important, but we have discovered that being organized is really helpful because if we don't know what topics we're talking about and we don't know what the topics are for that week, then our podcast is very scrambled. But now that we have gotten organized and we've gotten, the list of here's the topics for Marvel, here's the topics for Star Wars, here's a topic for whatever, then it's easier to bounce off of ideas and bounce off of opinions and stuff. So organization is really helpful.
All right. I picked a couple of these questions just for you.
Okay.
What's a movie that you enjoy?
Oh man. Right now, I've really enjoyed Avengers Endgame for the past couple of months. It was one of those movies that actually really just changed the whole landscape of things. And man, that final scene is something else. So
Okay. And what was the last movie you watched?
the last movie I watched the other night with my family and girlfriend. We watched Rogue One.
Okay. Good answer.
Yes.
Um, if you owned a yacht, what would you call it?
Uh, I would call it the Big Dipper.
Okay. The last question is: if you're stranded on a tropical island, what two things would you want with you? And let's
Oh
not be
man.
literal
That's
again.
not my two things. I would have to bring my Bible and probably my walking cane as well.
Okay. Those are great answers. JT, do you have any questions for me or any comments?
No, I actually, I really love this idea of talking to people around the town or around the city, getting to know them and stuff. So I really appreciate it.
Very cool. And if people want to know more about you, or where can they find you or your podcast or your YouTube channel?
Yeah, so if you just go to any of those social media pages, you can look up JT Forrester. That is Forrester, or Jonathan Forrester. And for our YouTube, or for the podcast, it's East Coast Avengers. You can search that in any kind of social media tab, and you can find us as well. Again, we are the big red and white logo, and it has the word or the letters ECA on it. So you can find those there. And then for the YouTube as well, same goes as Twitter and Facebook. Just type in my name or the podcast name, and you can find us.
All right, JT, what I'll do is I'll put all that in our show notes for the people at home following along so they can find it.
Sounds great.
And we really appreciate you coming on.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, JT.
Thank you.